Clemson and Florida State seem to realize that they no longer have leverage with the ACC. You might have been hearing some news reports the last couple of days. Very vague reports, so it's hard to even call them reports. It's almost like we're just reporting rumors now, but that's fine. The details are such as they are. Officials at Clemson and Florida State are talking with the ACC about alternatives to these silly lawsuits that the two schools filed against the ACC. The ACC then countersued. Clemson and Florida State, the background on this is that the two schools separately have sued the ACC, saying that the exit fees and grant of media rights agreements that they signed in 2015 were onerous and that they needed to be able to get out from under them and to be able to do so without having to pay $500 to $600 million for the privilege. The lawsuits are going nowhere at this stage. It will be several years before anything would ever get to an actual trial level. We're still trying to figure out venue, and it's the court system can be that slow. Um, and so one of the cases actually it had a ruling from the judge saying, okay, go to mediation. Let's start this mediation process. And apparently, the mediation process has led to some actual discussion. And it's basically, I mean, I could go into detail. I don't think I need to. But in essence, the ACC's thrown out the bone of, okay, we'll give you a chance to make more money based on your success on the field and your TV viewer numbers. Simple as that. I mean, so the ACC has already worked into a revenue sharing agreement that, for many years, obviously, this is the way it works in other sports leagues. The share of TV money goes out equally to everybody. Um, and the ACC's done that, and folks have been happy with that. But now Clemson and Florida State say, we're falling behind. The whole ACC's falling behind, but we're falling behind our peers in the SEC and Big Ten. We need to be able to make more money to be able to compete on the football field, particularly. And so the ACC developed a revenue sharing model which would reward success on the field. This would be another pot of money that would be more focused on TV viewer numbers. Fine. Um, not sure too many people are going to be viewing Florida State games the rest of this year after an 0-3 start against the likes of Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Memphis, but that's a dig. Um, the reporting floating out on this is that in addition to that, the ACC would consider uh, shortening the end date on the grants of media rights, which currently go through 2036. Everybody agreed to that back in 2015 when the new TV contract was set to start in 2016. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say I'm buying that as being anything more than a bargaining chip, if it's even that, and actually being discussed at all. Uh, because Florida State and Clemson have no leverage here. The money that they're wasting and the money that the ACC's having to waste in response maybe is the only bit of leverage that they've got, and just the frustration that the ACC would feel and does feel over having to defend and the member schools having to spend money defending an agreement that they all got into voluntarily. Um, so it's almost like this is an olive branch slash here you can claim victory so everybody can move on kind of maneuver from the ACC. And I think that's what this is. Um, and here's the bigger point, and I make this point a lot when I address this issue in columns. Nothing from this stupid distraction does anything to resolve the bigger issue at hand for the ACC and its member schools. That the new TV deals for the Big Ten and SEC are paying those conferences and member schools considerably more than what the ACC is able to get and give out to its member schools. And that's under the current ESPN deal, which has 12 years left on it this year and 11 more years after this one. It's been mentioned in a lot of these articles this week about this Clemson, Florida State, and ACC reaching some sort of an agreement to talk more. That, well, there's the February 2025 deadline for ESPN to decide what it's going to do with the last decade of the contract. And the implication here is ESPN would walk away. No, they're not walking away. This deal is too good for ESPN. They are making SEC level money and not paying out SEC level money. This is great deal for ESPN. They can't wait. I can't believe they haven't already exercised their option on this, but you know, maybe it's just a formality, or maybe they've already done it and we just haven't heard because those kind of things don't get announced until somebody wants to announce it. I have been good in Virginia at filing Freedom of Information Act requests. It's harder to do that at the national level, right? But my sense is if the deal's not already in place, they've pretty much already told the ACC what they're going to do, and they just haven't signed the paperwork yet. Um, and just to get this out there, uh, if there's any reduction on this grant of media rights, the length of it that is supposedly being talked about as an olive branch out there to Clemson and Florida State, ESPN would have to sign off on it too because the TV contract is tied to those grants and media rights. There's no value to the TV contract if anybody can leave when they want to. That's why you sign a grant of media rights deal. It's just basic stuff. So the best case scenario for Clemson and Florida State out of this, as long as they're not getting blown out by Georgia, choking at home against the AAC, they can make a few more bucks by winning and having people stay with their games on Saturdays. That's it. And no, just to answer this question, none of this is going to do anything to lure Notre Dame into being a full-fledged football member of the ACC. So we have that going for us.